my loves. Hello, hello, hello. My name is Dustina. This is Spiritually Boujee Astrology, and we're going to take a deeper look at the new moon in Sagittarius. Now, before we do any type of breakdown in regards to that new moon, I have a quick little announcement, and this will be the only episode I make this announcement on. I am doing a Black Friday special. A lot of you have already got this in emails, or you've seen me posting this on social media. I am doing a discounted rate where you can book a session with me, an hour-long session for $25 if you book this weekend. Now, there's a limit of 2 as an individual. You can get 2 for yourself. If you would like to gift readings to someone, you can buy up to 4 as gift certificates. So that is a max of 6 readings that you can get at that discounted price. Now, why is that part so important? Because, Dusty, you've ran this kind of special before during full moons and stuff. You're right. However, y'all don't know how much I have in the pipeline. You really don't. And I do feel very confident in saying this will be the last time I do readings at this price. I cannot see myself doing it again next year. With everything that I have coming in the pipeline and all the different things that are going to be starting to pop off in 2025, I cannot see myself doing this type of special again. So therefore, if you are wanting to capitalize on a reading with me, email me, DM me, whatever is going to be best for you. You can get it this weekend for $25. The sale ends Sunday night. So get those booked ASAP. Okay, moving along. Oh, we got the new moon in Sagittarius. And the thing about Sagittarius right now, and this particular new moon, is the fact that the ruler of Sagittarius, Jupiter, is in Gemini. It's in its detriment. However, Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is in Sagittarius in its detriment. And there's something here where I've said this before, that as things progress, and especially now that Mercury is retrograde, because that plays a part into this too, is that the mutual reception was going to have an aid. Jupiter being in its detriment is a negative. Mercury being in its detriment, it's a negative. But these two being in mutual reception takes us a double negative equals a positive. And for a lot of people, there can be a lot of positive energy in the vibration, hopeful energy in the vibration, big dreams, big ideas, big wishes on how we're going to take some things forward. And that can apply to a lot of the signs. However, not everything is going to be a double negative equals positive. And there can be situations that result in double whammies. And I've been clear about that. And the energy around this new moon sets the stage for a vibration that will go through the entire week. We have a lot of transits that are going to follow this new moon. And I think based off of the new moon itself and all the rest of the transits that I will cover in the week ahead, the next week ahead, between all of the different transits, there's a lot of activity in the air, a lot of frustration in the air. There's a lot of miscommunication in the air. There's a lot of misinformation that all sounds very, very true, very, very hopeful, very, very plausible, but we don't always know who to believe. We don't always know what to believe. Everybody's so dead set that their beliefs are the right way that if you're taking on new information, it's like, well, yeah, that makes sense. I can understand that. I can get behind that. Yeah, I'm with you. But then as soon as you hear the contrary opinion, you're like, you know what? I kind of get that too. And that sounds logical. And that sounds reasonable. That sounds plausible. And it leaves us questioning what to believe, who to believe. What are the possibilities? The complexity of this energy is duality, is real. Two things can be true simultaneously. Two things can be taking shape simultaneously. And for some people, a lot of this week is not necessarily the concept of the double negative, but for a lot more people, it's more along the lines of mutual reset, having an understood need to make an adjustment, make a change, do something different that is going to be beneficial for everyone, beneficial for both sides. Let's look for the potential. Let's look for the benefit. Let's see what we can do. There's a mutual feeling that both sides can win. Both sides can be right. Both things can be done. And in a lot of ways, that's just true. And we can have a lot of energy that starts to have a hopeful, connected, compounding situation that is starting to roll out in this new moon. But this new moon, with everything else involved, is a reshaping, a restructuring, a reevaluating, an evolving vibration. There's more that meets the eye. It's not just one dynamic that will be new starting through. It is a flow of energy, a transfer of going into something else, a transitional energy that for many will have a very powerful potential behind it. And again, there can be a lot of hope by listening to the other side, getting that dynamic, getting that perspective, taking our ego out of the conversation. We can get something accomplished. But not everybody is capable of keeping their goddamn ego at the door. No matter how many times you check them, they just can't do it. They're self-focused, they're self-centered. And whenever it comes to the concept again of a double whammy, there can be volatile frustration in the days around, not directly the day of the new moon, but in the days around the new moon. Volatile frustration, negative, impactful situations, and disruptive behavior based off of ego. Now, why do I say that? We have a lot of transits that are going to immediately follow this new moon. But one in particular, I've been harping about forever, and that is within days, Mars will go retrograde. Now, immediately before this new moon perfected, in the days leading up to it, the sun went through a trine with Mars. In the days following this new moon, the sun will hit squares to Saturn. Mercury will hit squares to Saturn. We will hit another round of oppositions to Jupiter. And there's a lot of movement in the air. But not everybody is going to be happy. Not everybody is going to be impressed. Not everybody is going to be hopeful that everything can be sunshine and rainbows. No. They're going to start throwing kinks in because, again, they can't check themselves at the door. Now, if you are the person struggling with ego, feeling like everything is being changed around you and it doesn't matter what you say, nobody's going to listen to you, pull your head out of your ass. Sincerely, from me to you, pull your head out of your ass. It's not about you. A lot of things can be bigger than you. If you are dealing with the people that are stuck in their egoistic, frustrated, lashing out mindset, there is nothing that you can say that is going to change their opinion. Not right now. Now, not everybody that is ruled by Mars, hi, how you doing, is taking this energy negatively. I got plenty of Aries risings that I talk to on a regular basis. I'm a Scorpio rising. Y'all know that. There's a lot of others that are Scorpio rising. And again, we're not all handling this in a negative fashion, but there's some that are. And based off of whatever new decisions, new communication, the revising, the revamping, the restructuring that starts to come through, the next level of steps in the plan, in the commitment, in the weeks that will follow this new moon, because it's not just about the new moon. Got a lot of stuff going on. It can really set the stage for how the entire month of December is going to go. And if you listen to the month ahead forecast, I said we start the month of December with a new moon in Sagittarius, but we will end the month with a new moon in Capricorn. The tone, the vibration, the productivity, the possibilities, the roles, the responsibility, who's in charge of what, who will handle what, it's meant to change over the course of this month. And as people step more into where they're going next, what they'll be doing next, centering more on their responsibilities and what they're capable of doing, other people will not be satisfied. Because again, something didn't go their way. Someone didn't agree with what they thought was the right way to go. Something didn't jive. Something didn't happen. Promises were made, potentially, that were not delivered upon. Because one of the things I have said that we can really struggle with Mercury and Sagittarius is the overpromise, underdeliver concept. And checking yourself is important. And many of you have gotten good about, okay, I don't want to overpromise. I know I can't get all this accomplished. Okay, I'm listening. But then everyone else that doesn't necessarily listen to stuff like this, you're seeing that pattern in them and you're feeling let down because they overpromised. Some of the aspects of this week, when the double negative, the double whammy, and some of the things that can follow this new moon, we'll be seeing certain people change their tone about what was previously promised, what was previously discussed, what was previously delivered. Something wasn't right. And based off of the new vibration and the potential of making certain things happen this week, those little things will start to, again, reveal themselves and become more apparent. All in all, I don't think it's a horrible energy. I think it's got a lot of positive vibration. And I think a lot of people need to feel the positive in their heart, in their mind, in their soul. We need it. We need the confidence boost. But just remember, the way that some energy will impact you as an individual is not the way it's going to impact another person. And if you have anyone that has mutable placements in your circle, in your life, in your surroundings, this is a much more intense energy for them. Pisces risings, Gemini risings, Virgo risings, and Sagittarius risings, obviously, because it's new moon in Sag. They're really struggling. They're feeling this energy very intensely. And the concepts of what they had in mind for their life, for their relationships, for their future, for their families, any and everything of the above is being tested, and a whole different level of disruption is impacting them compared to any of the other signs, with a special asterisk next to the Scorpio risings. And I'll explain that more when I get to the Scorpio risings in this part. Okay. Now, if you have never been a part of a new moon or full moon video, that is okay. Here's how I read it. I don't care if your ascendant is at 2 degrees or 22 degrees. The entire zodiac sign that your ascendant is in is your first house. And every numerical house that follows is going to be associated with the next zodiac sign. So that being said, putting it all into motion, let's get to Aries and Aries risings. Okay, babies. Now, This is a new moon in your ninth house. Higher education, higher learning, experiencing things, learning through levels of experience. Oh, it's a little bit of a tricky energy because your chart ruler, Mars, is stationing for that retrograde. We're about a week away. It's about to hit. Whenever you're going on your holiday travels, if you are traveling for work, if you are taking some levels of additional training, whatever you guys might be doing, will have some additional promise, weight, potential that can come through later, but might not be easily recognizable where the benefit is in the moment. Whenever you have the moon axis go through your third and your ninth house, it's a much gentler energy. It's got a lot more potential, and you gain a lot of experience. And that's not a bad thing. However, you can still be prone to that overpromise and underdeliver. You can still be prone to dealing with things that you were not necessarily anticipating, because we do still have the condition of your chart ruler starting to go retrograde. And there can be a struggle in that. There can be a struggle based off of Mars. Now, let's be clear. When Mars is stationing, things start to go stagnant. Our desires, what we're trying to achieve, what we're trying to do, they can get a little stagnant. However, I do know that I have a lot of people this week that they're starting something new this week with one idea that it's going to go a certain way. And the realistic matter is some of the things that we start to commit to, that we say that we will do, the training that we will take, the travel that we will spearhead, whatever we're working on, there's a chance that by committing to it in some way, that not everything is going to work in our favor. There's going to be tests in the vibration. Now, the other thing about the ninth house, and this is again is a new moon in your ninth house, is there can be things that are tied to institutions. Now, an institution can be anything. It can be a school, it can be a bank, be a hospital, it can be a prison. A lot of the transits that will immediately follow this new moon will again make squares to Saturn in your 12th house of the unknown, the unseen, and endings. But there can also be stuff from the past, things that need to be healed. There can be blindsiding in the energy. And I need you guys to be prepared for anything when it comes to this vibration. So we got our first two cards. We have the Queen of Wands and the Five of Coins. The Queen of Wands, again, we're seeing the potential, we're seeing the hope, we're seeing the promise, we're seeing our desires coming through, but we can be so blinded by passion and desires that we don't realize how much we are sacrificing and what certain things can cost us if we don't check ourselves. We have to have that ability to check ourselves just as much as your best friend can check you. Like, hey, you're acting like an asshole. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. If somebody starts to check you in a certain way, you need to listen to that. There is truth in those voices, in those stories. There is truth in the people that protect you and team with you. Now, I'm not getting rid of this Page of Swords quite yet, but I also want to go off of the idea that Mercury is involved. The new moon in Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, and Jupiter's in your third house. It's still a communications house. It's still a travel house. There can also be things with our siblings, having to travel for our siblings, having to do something extra for our nieces and our nephews, having to do something extra to help someone else get through a tough time, because some truths are about to be a lot harder to deal with. And this doesn't have to be your truth to be an applicable truth. There can be some information that comes through that we are not anticipating. Now, The energy that we're going into is temporary. It will not last forever. That's a good thing. But all of it is necessary to teach you something in the moment, to prepare you for something that's going to come later. And there's going to be a lot of promise. I'm so serious when I say this, a lot of promise, potential, and healing when we get into the springtime. Here's our last two cards, by the way, the King of Cups and the Ten of Cups. And so much of the vibration that we are in and where we're going next is an energy that is shaping, shaking, and preparing us for something that is to come. And whatever is going to be coming, again, I keep kind of warning you guys about this. I'm putting the little Easter eggs each time, has so much potential for Aries risings. And a whole new version of you is going to start to come through, is going to start to be seen next year. So anything positive or negative in this moment, it is temporary. It is. But that doesn't mean that it's going to be bad. Understand the lessons. Take note of what the energy is teaching you, the things that you are experiencing when you are interacting with different people, and put into perspective that there is something very, very public coming in the weeks ahead for you guys. Maybe not so much in the moment, but definitely in the near future. Okay. Moving along. We're going to get to Taurus and Taurus risings. Okay, babies. Now, this is a new moon in your 8th house, financial house, shared assets, shared resources, death, debt, taxes, inheritance, investment properties, insurance payouts. Sometimes we've got changes that are, some of us, I'm going to say sometimes, some of us have some changes in regards to our home life that is starting to impact our financials in a whole new way. The thing about Mars is stationing to go retrograde in your 4th house of home life, and family. There's going to be some disruptions coming in this area. And that disruption can also mean something that is going to impact you financially with the new moon in your 8th house. Now, here's the deal. Whenever it comes to this vibration around you, your chart ruler, Venus, is in your 9th house. It's not in an angular house, not yet anyways. So a lot of what's going on has the ability to teach you something. There are learning lessons. Some of it are going to be very bold and external learning lessons. Others will actually come internally. It's like as soon as you see somebody act a certain way, it just kind of clicks in your head. That's why they said not to trust them. That's why they said not to work with them. That's why they said I shouldn't do that. Now I get it. Why did I do that? Well, because in a lot of ways, you're stubborn as hell, and the only way you learn is the hard way. Now, when it comes to your energy, especially as Venus is getting closer to Aquarius. Now, this is about a week or so out before Venus actually goes into Aquarius, a little bit over a week, I think. But whenever Venus goes into Aquarius, that's going to be your chart ruler in your 10th house of career, but also the 10th house is a house of fathers. So for this placement, there's a lot of energy that can speak to potential frustrations in the near future that can impact career. Pluto's now in your 10th, but Venus is your chart ruler is about to come in. But it can also impact fathers, something negatively that's going around fathers, father figures, the patrons of the family. Given the fact that Mars is about to turn retrograde in your 4th house of home life, and family, but it's also 4th house as mothers, nobody's off the table. There will be a lot of things immediately following this new moon that starts to impact the family life. And they don't have to live in the single place that you're living for it to impact your family. just to be absolutely clear about that. So if you've already been seeing certain things with a family member and your gut keeps telling you something's going on, listen to your gut. Your intuition is on point. You know certain things are coming. And the way things have been for a very long time, all of the traditions, all of the way that we used to do things, they are about to shift. They are about to change. The thing about the mutable signs, the fact that a lot of the energy currently is in mutable signs, but that ain't gonna last much longer, is they are the signs that bridge our focus. They bridge us from one season to the next. They bridge us from one topic to the next. They bridge our energy into something else. There can be things that are going to be happening that you can feel happening. But even if you try to check on somebody ahead of time, going, I kind of wanted to ask like your opinion. Are we going to be doing this? Like, I don't know. I haven't decided anything yet. They're not lying that they haven't decided, but your gut is picking up on things before they're actually going to hit. Now, some of you have allowed new people into your space. You've allowed someone to come into your home. You've taken on a roommate. You moved in with your girlfriend, with your boyfriend. You moved in with a family member, whatever is going on, or you have been asked to move back home because there is something going on with a family member. And this is where I say, again, check our egos at the door. Because if we're in this area of care and consideration, then we need to be focused on that and not how we're going to get out of certain things. There is a give and take to every situation with the Six of Coins. And again, so much of what's going on is about a transition, again, of certain traditions and who's going to be in charge of what, and especially transfer of what's going on regarding elders and grandparents. Sorry, I went blank there for a second. There is a necessity to the give and take in the transition of roles and responsibilities. Now, there are certain truths that need to be heard. There are certain lessons that you have to learn the hard way. Doesn't matter how many times somebody warned you. Doesn't matter how many caution, wet floor signs you walked by. You're not going to believe it until you fall on your ass. The thing about the Queen of Swords is there's no emotions. It is the facts, the figures, the receipts. She is dead set to understand something that is true and real and can be proven. But until you experience certain things that show you what is true and real and can be proven, you are going to choose to learn some lessons the hard way. Next card, 10 of Wands. Final card, Knight of Wands. Come on. There we go. Now, putting these into perspective as to like what we're looking at and how we're going to be charging head first, there will be certain things that start to become disruptive based off passions, based off of career, based off of our goals, based off of the hot-headed egotistical energy, like I was saying before. And the reason I keep bringing up this egotistical energy is because Mars is turning retrograde in Leo. The last time we had major retrogrades in Leo, we had a Mercury retrograde recently. Last year we had a Venus retrograde, your chart ruler. Now we got Mars. Anytime I see retrogrades in Leo, we see the underbelly of certain people's egos and the way that they do certain things to get their way. That's not anything that you're willing to put up with. People that do this self-serving energy, you will cut it off so fast. You will have to cut it off real fast because you still have final rounds of lessons of Uranus in your first and what it means for you. And so many of you are learning levels of independence that you've never been able to dedicate yourself to until this transit started in 2018, but you're not done with it yet. So we still have some final lessons that are starting to come through. And so many of you, the lessons can either be the downloads from the universe, Venus in the ninth, or the physical lessons of, again, walking by all the wet floor signs and ignoring them until you fall on your ass. That's your fault, not mine. Anyways, okay. Moving along. Moving along. We're taking it forward. We're going to get to Geminis and Gemini risings. All right, Geminis, here's the deal. I want you to listen to yours and I want you to listen to Sagittarius rising. I'm going to say the same thing to them. Why am I saying that? Because your chart rulers in the seventh, that the seventh house chart ruler is in the first, and it applies to both of you that way. So there's that. So anything that I could pick up on the Sag risings can apply to you, and I'm going to try my best to remember to tell them the same things. Anyways, moving along. So much of your energy is focused on the other. Starting something new in partnership, starting something new in relationship, putting something new together that is going to be beneficial for everyone. We're feeling lucky, we're feeling hopeful, we're feeling like things have fell onto our side in some sort of way. Some are struggling. The first card that came out actually speaks to luck, but the second card does not. Some are feeling like the luck has been against you for so long and we don't necessarily know why. And so many of you, we are having to finally break out of old ideas, finally break down the walls around old wounds and old trauma, and finally allow for others to see you the way that you deserve to be seen. There's a level of healing in the vibration. Many of you like to be seen, but you want to be seen for the right reasons. Not everybody sees you for the right reasons. But now you're having the chance to put a lot of things together and allow for things to happen naturally that previously were not happening quite the way that you desired. And I do anticipate a big transition that's going to come through, especially in the week following this new moon. Oh, now Mercury retrograde in its detriment. It's not fun for you guys. We both know that. But the big difference right now, again, is having Jupiter in your first. And there can be benefits to allowing someone to see you differently. Mercury retrograde in the seventh, new moon in the seventh. There can be something very healing by telling someone else off. Mercury retrograde in the seventh, while Jupiter is in the first. But what I'm also looking at is the other transits around this energy. And some of you might say the right thing, but to the wrong person, and it has a ripple effect in the days ahead. Or you're going to say the right thing to the right person, and again, there's going to be some trickle effect energy. You guys will feel this entire week more so than anybody else because of how the week will progress. Mercury will make its second opposition to Jupiter. The Sun and Mercury will both square Saturn. We will have a Mercury Cazimi, and it's going to be followed by Mars going retrograde. There's a lot of things coming to light, getting revealed, and coming into focus in this vibration. Some of you guys are prepared for it. Others are not. So we have this death card. We also have this card of the Eight of Swords. Like, we need to finally face some things that we have struggled with facing for a very long time. We need to recognize our wounds. We need to recognize the things that we haven't necessarily wanted to face, and finally allow ourselves to overcome the things that we've been hiding. Hermit card. Okay. These are the heavier of the cards, not so heavy. I mean, the Hermit and the Death card really don't have to be heavy. Can you actually experience like death around you? Yes, but is that what this transit is speaking to? Absolutely not. But the opinion that you have been holding in, the desires that you have been holding in, the situations that you've held yourself back from, those can have a very big turnaround in the days after this new moon. Now let's go with the next three cards. We have this Nine of Cups card, which I always say with this card, like, it's better to be lucky than smart. And then we have this Three of Cups energy, and we have this Empress card. Now, I want to put the Empress card next to the Eight of Swords for just a second, just to be clear. Oh, this is what I was talking to when I was saying some of us might get into situations where we might say the right thing to the wrong person and shit goes wrong. Death card. We also might say the right things to the right person, and it finally allows for certain things to work in our favor and come together. With this Three of Cups energy, it's a celebratory energy. It's a connected energy. We want our cups to overflow. We want to get things accomplished. We want things to be great and happy. It's very social. With your chart ruler being in the seventh, it's very social. So much of our focus is what we need to work through and accomplish to be better as a partner, to connect better to people, to do what's going to be best for ourselves while also doing what's best for the people that we choose to share our space with. And for many of you, that is going to result in an immediate change this week with all of those squares to Saturn. If it's not necessarily this week, big asterisk here, then I would say by the end of the month, because the squares to Saturn are going to be continuous all the way until the end of the month. And I would actually say go watch the month ahead forecast to understand that, because I've talked about it already, just for that full skew month ahead perspective. Oh, a lot of focus on the others, a lot of focus on commitments, a lot of focus on legal matters, a lot of focus on career and success. But there can also be things that have to do with fathers and the patrons of the family based off of Saturn's vibration in the 10th. Not everybody's dealing with the career aspects. Some people are more focused on family, but given the presence of being mainly in the 10th, it can have to do just with fathers and what we are doing to help our mothers and help others prepare for whatever is going on with fathers. Mercury also rules your fourth house of home life, and family. So family life is not off the table for you guys. But for a lot more of you, the bigger focus is where you're going next in career and what's going to be best for you between this new moon and the things that you finally let go of by the time we get to the full moon in Gemini, which that is the day that Mercury turns direct. That's the day the retrograde will end. Okay, moving along. Moving along, we're gonna get to Cancers and Cancer risings. Oh, my loves, my loves, my loves. Oh, this is a new moon in your sixth house of health, how you care for yourself, how you care for other people. This can also have to do with pets and livestock. Oh, if you're a Cancer rising, you could suddenly come home with a mini cow. I don't suggest it, especially if you only have an apartment. Like, I don't suggest you coming home with a mini cow, but hey, it was like they were just freeze on the side of the road. I don't even know how we got it, but here we are. It's a possibility. Let's be clear about that. Now, the one thing that I've been very clear about with Cancer risings is that you have the ruler of your sixth house of health in your 12th house of the unknown, the unseen, and endings. The ruler of your 12th house is in your sixth house of health, how you care for yourself, how you care for others, and things in regards to your routine. We can have a very big shift based off unexpected things that are blindsiding you around this new moon, or you could have just recently been blindsided, Jupiter in the 12th, based off of how all the other transits have kind of hit that Jupiter. If you're not being blindsided this week. And I'm saying blindsided loosely, it's just because Jupiter is in the 12th. Some of you know what's coming. It's just, it hasn't happened yet. And because it hasn't hit yet, it's like you're on pins and needles waiting for somebody to make a decision, waiting for something to happen. And once it does, it's like, okay, finally, thank you. I just needed to know what I was changing and what I was working on and what decisions I needed to make next, waiting on you to figure your shit out. And there's a lot of preparation. There's a lot of needing for focus on your mental energy and not so much the emotional energy especially with the way your cards have come out. Let's be clear about that. Now, I do want you to be mindful of your health. I've said this with the Capricorn risings. I'm saying it again to you guys now. Be mindful with what's going on in your health, because you are more susceptible with things impacting your intestinal health, your respiratory, anything on your body that is in duality. You got 2 hands, 2 eyes, 2 legs, 2 feet. 2 feet. Also pay attention to the swelling in the body, like one leg swelling or one foot swelling or anything along these lines. Pay attention to these areas of the body, because some of you, it's just like the mundane, like that's how the energy's grabbing you, and suddenly you have extra water weight. But for others, it is telling you something that you need to focus on. And here's the deal. Mars is about to go retrograde, and the first part of Mars retrograde is going to be in the second house of money. But by the time we get to January, Mars is going to be retrograde in your first. And if there's a discovery of something in your health, Mars is retrograde in your first can enact treatments, disruptive treatments that negatively impact the body. There can be something that happens in the Mercury retrograde that requires you to do levels of surgery and healing. And I need you guys to be extra mindful of the energy, especially this month. But even more so once Mars comes into your first. But there's something about these next few weeks that triggers and instigates how we deal with that next phase of Mars in your first. So if it's something in your health, don't take that shit lightly. Something at work and career, don't take that shit lightly. And a lot of whatever's about to happen next most likely isn't going to be your decision, but it's going to fall on your plate. It just is. Okay, let's talk about this. So we have the 8 of Swords. We got the 2 of Swords. There we go. We have the Page of Swords. A lot of truth in this energy. I'm going to stick with these 3 for now. So there's a lot of things that it's coming up that we aren't necessarily wanting to face, that we're not necessarily feeling like we're prepared to face. And it's really because we're waiting on certain people to come to certain decisions, new decisions with the Page of Swords. And again, with this 2 of Swords, it's facing the decision that they have not been wanting to face. And I feel like for many of you, you are waiting on someone else to make a decision. Tell me what you want. I don't know yet. I need you to figure it out. Some of you are going to find yourself taking care of other people in a whole different way that you weren't anticipating. And it's again because somebody else made the decision to not do their part. Or you're finding out the hard way because somebody didn't want to be truthful before, but then they got to a point that there was no other way to handle it but to step in and be like, you got to tell me what's wrong. Sorry, I've been doing this and I haven't been feeling well and it's been impacting me. I can see you guys doing a whole different level of taking care of things, of pushing things forward in regards to someone else just as much as you can be dealing with your own health. Okay. If we're dealing with work aspects, 7 of Coins energy, we are planting seeds for long-term growth and potential of something that is going to be very possible later. And I do mean later, specifically springtime, March, April, February, a little bit, springtime. There's a lot of potential. There's a lot of possibilities. And there's a lot of new passions that are going to be coming into focus after Mars turns direct. So this 7 of Coins energy says like a lot of what we have to do and take care of to get through the moment with all of these guys is so that way it helps us like get through time and get through the energy until the next round of passion of what we're going to be doing next comes through. And again, all of it is preparation with the 4 of Swords. Everything that you're doing, whether it's working with some people in your surroundings and helping them get a few things together, so that way they can take off into something else, that's preparation. If you're doing some gritty work to help some people around the company, around your job, around the town, whatever you're doing, if you're helping somebody just like in a volunteer aspect, you don't realize it, but it's preparation and it's planting seeds for something else. So many of you are in a preparation mode that is going to have big potential and reward later. But be mindful of your health. I'm not sugarcoating that. Okay. Moving along. We're going to get to Leos and Leo risings. Y'all don't listen. I'm going to start with that one. Oh, the ruler of your fifth house of love and luck and joy and romance and happiness and children is in your 11th house of friends. The ruler of your 11th house of friends is in your fifth house of love and luck and joy and romance and happiness and children. Leo risings. I have been saying this since Jupiter entered Gemini. Y'all are going through lessons of understanding the difference between friends and lovers. And now that Pluto's back in your 7th house, those lessons are forever. Okay, there you go. Now, not all of you are dealing with that. And if you're having a bit of a hoe face, okay, I don't blame you. Have some fun. However, not all of you are in this phase. And some of you are having to work through legal situations, potentially things that are impacting you financially with the squares to Saturn in your 8th, that are about to put a lot of strain and pressure on you, because we're either having to do something extra to take care of someone's health, or we're having to do something extra to make sure that somebody continues to make payments, or that the bills continue to get paid. However, that needs to get worked for you. Some of you are having to go through the child support situation. Some of you finally have that worked out, but now we're trying to get caught up on the bills because somebody's finally paying child support. And I don't want to sit here and come across as saying like, oh, that child support's going to go away. I don't feel like that's going to be the case. But there can be some things that really test how you work with other people and how things are going to continue. And for some of you, when Mars goes retrograde, which we're just a few days away, there can be some tower moments, because you got the tower card. I'm just going to say that right now, that start to come through that don't just impact you, but they also impact the people that you surround yourself with. They can also impact your children, and they can also deeply impact your home life. Why do I say that? Not only are we looking at the fact that Mars is the god of war, stationing to go retrograde in your 1st house, but Mars rules your 4th house of home life, and family. The ruler of your 4th house of home is about to go retrograde in your 1st. The new moon in the Mercury retrograde is in your 5th house of children. There are going to be a lot of things that are starting to come up that start to impact the home life. So we're going to start with the Tower card. Now, the Tower card, of course, is everything falling apart and crumbling and yada, yada, yada. And I'm not going to pretend like it isn't. However, the other thing the Tower card is it's the most primary card in the deck that actually represents a structure, a building, a home. There can be things that are going to test you and your home life in the weeks ahead. Test your family in the weeks ahead. Test the matrons of the family in the weeks ahead, based off of how certain things start to come to light. Now we have the Page of Swords. Remember, pages can be children just as much as they can be new messages and new communication. We have this Magician card, and we have the Three of Cups. So for many of you, we're needing certain things to come through that either are impacting the kids, or we're needing certain truths and certain new information to come to light that either impacts a creative outlet, something that we're trying to put together, something that we're trying to produce that's going to, again, impact us financially, something that we're really trying to push to the forefront that's going to impact our long-term abundance and wealth. And for many of you, you're trying to pull a rabbit out of the hat, like quite literally with the Magician card. We're trying to get new things out there for everyone to understand. And we're like quite literally trying to create something that is going to change the way people see you. And there's a lot of potential in that possibility. Now we got two cards that follow. We have the King of Wands, we have the King of Swords. The King of Wands, Mars is stationing in your first. Your passions are going to change. There'll be one round of something that starts to develop, that is starting to come through, that is starting to be achieved, that will not last forever, will not stay this way. It's like the first round of something. But when we get to the springtime, specifically now with you guys, I'm talking late April going through May and June, the first round of a passion that you're trying to come through will alter. And you will have to make some very logical decisions based off all the new information and the new possibilities that start to take shape as more and more people start to understand what you are changing. There's so much that's coming through, so much passion, so much possibilities, so much potential. Now, the other thing about Mars is it rules your ninth house, which is a higher education and higher learning. And some of you might be very focused on what you're going to do next in regards to your education and how you're going to take that on. And you might be feeling very stressed in regards to the decisions that you're trying to make. Mars in your first is disruptive. He is going to bring out anger. He is going to bring out frustration, but he is also capable of bringing out desires. Now, that desire can be sexual, new moon in the 5th, Mercury retrograde in the 5th. And that's why I keep saying you guys have lessons between knowing the difference between friends and lovers. You do. But for others, so much of what can be coming through in this energy can be new passion projects, the new potential, the fuel that feeds the fire as to how you wish to be seen moving forward. Something needs to change. The goals that you wish to accomplish need to change. And you can be inspired in this new moon to make deep changes for yourself. But only so much of them will stick. And I'm not going to sugarcoat that for you. Springtime looks a lot better. But that doesn't mean that you're not on the right path. If you are dealing with things in your home life, things that are impacting your children and things that are impacting your family, that again is a part of the energy. If we're having issues in regards to being able to maintain the home, it's a part of the energy. If we're not making enough money to pay those bills, it's a part of the energy. There is a stress with Mars stationing in your first. And I need you guys to understand that it makes you very accident prone. And as we go through this week, getting closer to Mars actually stationing retrograde, you guys need to be ultra careful about what you're doing, because the potential of you getting hurt is amplified this week and next week. But I'm going to put more focus on this week because a lot more transits are going through this week compared to next. Okay. Moving along. Keep it going. We're going to get to Virgos and Virgo risings. Hello, my loves. I know there's so much going on. A new routine within the home life, new things going on in the family, a potential stress or strain that is starting to make you question how things are going to continue, whether you are going to be able to maintain the life your children have desired, or whether you need to do something different in regards to partnership. And a lot of focus that is going on between mothers and fathers. Now, the one thing I want to say to Virgo risings, and I'm going to also say to Pisces risings, you should listen to both. You should listen to both. The reason is because of how all of this is laying out for you guys. Jupiter is the ruler of your 4th house of home, home life, and family, and mothers. Mercury rules your 10th house of career, goals, public image, but also fathers. And there is this element here of mothers versus fathers, trying to put some things into perspective and not both sides are understanding, trying to put a whole new focus in what we want in regards to our career and our goals, what is going to feel fair, what is going to be balanced, and what can be potential in the future, while also recognizing the things that we have to let go of in the moment before that potential can be reached, before the possibilities can really come alive. There is potential, but there is overwhelm. And some of us have to make some very hard decisions moving forward before we can allow ourselves to start to heal and start to do new things. There's a lot of weight in the cards for you guys. So again, I'm going to remind you, listen to both the Virgo risings and the Pisces risings. Obviously, I haven't pulled Pisces cards yet, but I can read the axis. I'm just telling you to go ahead and listen to both. Seven of Cups, overwhelm. I always look at the Seven of Cups and I think of all like trying to spin a bunch of plates on a bunch of sticks. Like spin, 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 spin. How many more plates? How long can I keep everything up in the air? How long can you keep up appearances? How long can you keep everything going? How long can you keep juggling everything? Can your mind continue to handle it? Mercury, your chart ruler, is now retrograde. And you're rethinking. You're rethinking the past. You're rethinking the possibilities. You're rethinking certain things. You're revising part of your pattern. There is an adjustment coming through. And so much of you are going to be worried about the potential of, if I let go of something or someone, will I be making a mistake forever? Many of you are feeling the strain of relationships with Saturn in your seventh. But others aren't feeling strain at all. And I'll be clear about that. I'm going to focus on the strain for some of you, but then I'll focus on the more positive side here in just a second. For my older Virgo risings, having Neptune in your seventh, you were blinded for so long. Like, this is the best it's going to be. This is going to be all the potential that's there. We've been very blinded to something whenever it comes to other people. And we've allowed ourselves to be put into situations over and over again to where we are self-sacrificial and we're willing to accept levels of betrayal, whether that is an actual betrayal in regards to affairs or whether that is a betrayal of your conscience and your personal energy. It does not matter. There have been betrayals that you have been willing to accept blindly for far too long with the Seven of Swords. And by allowing all of this overwhelm and the fear overwhelm you and overcome you, we hold on to the potential versus the reality. Wish in one hand, shit in the other, my loves. I'm going to tell you which one fills up faster. The stinky one. Do not stay in love with the potential. Do not stay focused on the potential. Look at what's tangible. Look at the reality. Look at the shit. And really take account what's going to be best for you and what's going to be fair for you. Staying in a relationship just because isn't the right way to stay in a relationship. It's not the right reasons to stay in a relationship. And Saturn being in this area is letting you know, hey, this, not your thing anymore. This, not your responsibility anymore. Now, for other people, though, there is potential in the air. Why do I say that? Because Venus is in that fifth house of love, luck, joy, romance, happiness, and children. And for some of you, there is the potential of new relationship. And Saturn in your seventh is letting you know, hey, we have a desire for a certain type of responsible individual that is going to be a good partner. that is going to treat us fairly. And many of you are connecting to new people. And where my hesitancy is for you all is, when did you meet them? When did you see the potential of the new person? Has it been since eclipse season? I'm going to count that full moon in Pisces for just a moment in this part of the conversation. That was a full moon in an eclipse in a sign where we weren't focused on the eclipses yet. It was shaking up an area that we weren't focused on quite yet. We're not ready for yet. The upcoming Mars retrograde, it starts in your 12th house of the unknown, the unseen, and endings. But it's going to migrate back into your 11th house of friends, network, clients, and colleagues. And that sexual desire that Mars can harness can put you guys into situations where you're confusing friends with lovers. And in September, specifically September 4th, it was the beginning of the month, Mars had moved into Cancer. If you have been in a brand spanking new relationship since the second half of this year, you need to be mindful of the energy, because you could be seeing the test that doesn't quite look like a test quite yet. But here pretty soon, you're going to start filling in some blanks. And I need you to be open-minded. That Mars retrograde coming into your 11th, it's going to end relationships, especially relationships. Well, it's not going to end them for everybody. It's going to test relationships. And a lot of people, it's going to end them. But there'll be specifically relationships of friends that should never have been more than friends, or is going to clear out space, letting you know this person ain't for you at all. And I want you to be open-minded in the vibration that you're seeing. Okay. Moving on. Oh, we're going to go to Libras and Libra risings. Okay. I have a special little thing I want to talk with Libra risings about, just to continue into this. Now, as a whole, this is a new moon in your third house. Short distance travel, communication, learning through experience. Now, there's going to be a lot of things that you're suddenly taking on lessons, taking on certain learning. And for some of you, you're going to be also educating others. Because not only do we have Mercury in your third with this new moon in your third, but the ruler of your third house is in your ninth house. And the third and the ninth house, this is a travel axis. This is a learning axis. Now, let's talk about the learning. Oh, you guys are wrapping up the South Node in your first house. Now, the South Node has a great way of impacting certain things that are tied to the body, but it's also a note of karmic clearing. And I've had a lot of people ask me about, why do I keep saying, Dusty, why are you always saying like we've done our own undoing? We're releasing the things that no longer serve us. We're sending people out. We're cutting people off. Why are we doing this? Like, because you're doing karmic clearing. The South Node can be an indicator in a natal chart of the past life. Many people, whenever it comes to the Libra rising placements, you've had the South Node coming through your first, purging certain connections. And I'll remind everybody, when the South Node went into Libra last year, it coincided with the start of a Venus retrograde in your 11th house of friends. We started to clean house, a lot of house cleaning. Now, as we wrap up the nodal axis going between the first and the seventh, there's more and more connections of clearing house and dismissing energies that no longer serve your greater purpose. But to dismiss them, we've got to make some hard decisions. We got to make some judgment calls. So let's talk about some of these. We have the Two of Swords. We have the Two of Wands. a decision that we haven't wanted to face yet, but we have to. A crossroads. We've followed one path for so long. Now the opportunity for a different path is starting to evolve, and we must figure out which direction we're going to go. Two of Wands. Which direction are you going? Who are you going to listen to? And are you willing to finally make the certain decisions to leave the things behind that no longer serve you and that have been draining you? Five of Coins. Five of Coins is a bankrupt card. Putting yourself in a point of being financially desolate. We're in a vibration of you all ending certain karmic contracts with the South Node in the first. But not only are we ending them based off of that, but we're preparing for the final chapter of certain things with Saturn preparing to go into your seventh house. And there's a lot of judgment that is going to follow in this energy. Judgment in actual legal matters, judgment about you finally seeing someone or something for who they actually are, making, again, certain decisions to leave certain people behind that no longer serve you, that are no longer for your greater good, and finally realizing the potential of how fucking awesome you are being yourself and not being so sacrificial and self-serving and passive fucking aggressive of letting just shit roll off your back going, well, you know, if that's the way you want to do it, I want to smack you guys so hard when you do that shit. I have sisters that are Libra risings. I'm telling you, I want to smack you. Anyways, I love you. Smack you. Anyways, star card, Nine of Coins. There is a potential of great things that can come for you all, of new things that can fall into place. And the thing I love about the Nine of Coins is I call that a boss bitch card. That is the woman that came through, bought her land, sowed her own seeds, grew her own crops, took them crops to the market, and made her own money. Nobody did it for her. She did it herself. The potential of achieving certain things in the near future that are for your best good and for your greatest good is mind-blowing. And the potential to heal is going to be so great as we go through the next year. And as you heal, each step in healing will allow for you again to do more accountability to the other side. This is a new moon in your third house. Y'all got lessons to learn. Certain things that are going to be communicated, certain conversations that are going to be had is going to trigger you to, again, hold up a mirror to yourself and see the potential. It is going to force you to make certain decisions that you have struggled with making, because you struggle with that level of accountability sometimes. You struggle with sticking to the plan. The plan is necessary. And so much of what we go into next is to finally find a way to hold that other side accountable and to finally have a whole new level of requirement for who we allow into our space, the potential of what we're going to allow into our space. There's a lot of karmic contracts being broken with the Libra risings. And it's all playing out through the transits, and it has been for a while. But wait till we get to next spring. You'll see even more of that. Now, beyond that, the new moon in the third house, travel, a lot of learning experience, but there can also be things tied to people's health. Now, why do I say that? Because immediately following this new moon, we're also going to have all of those transits that are going to square Saturn in your sixth. How you care for yourself, how you care for other people, Elders, Saturn is a representation of the elders. How we take care of mom, how we take care of grandpa, how we take care of certain people and certain things. And there can be a whole new element in what you're doing in your routine, given Saturn now being direct here. Having a whole new focus in what you're doing work-wise, what you're doing in your routine, a whole new focus in how you're caring for others. Because the sixth house is a service house. It can also be a new routine around your pets. Third house new moon, but it's loosely squaring Saturn in the sixth. A lot of training can be going on, connecting you with people differently, but a new responsible shift in your routine. Okay. That one's probably a little bit longer for you guys, but I had some special requests on explaining something, and I'm going to send everybody the link for that. Anyways, moving along. We're going to get to Scorpios and Scorpio risings. Now, at the beginning, I put a special little asterisk and I said, mutable placements are really feeling this, but so too are the Scorpio risings. Now, why is that? Oh, because our chart rulers, Pluto and Mars, are in the angular houses. And there's a lot going on. There's a lot of potential. There's a lot of public things. This is a new moon in your second house of money, your assets, your shit, your stuff. And with Mars starting to station in that 10th house, there can be a whole new set of plans and potential with how you start to connect with your surroundings in a very public way in regards to your career, in regards to your goals. We can be spending money to make money in a lot of ways. Jupiter in the 8th being the ruler of your second. A lot of this energy speaks to the financial. We can also have a lot of things that are coming up as additional expenses that we weren't anticipating. And it makes us fearful of the money that we've spent, not knowing if it was the right thing to do. And that's not necessarily the case. It's just, that's the way things pan out sometimes. Okay. I want people to pay attention to the idea of what the long game is more so than anything else. And I want you to be prepared that some of what you start to do next is not going to be stuff that impacts you as an individual, Scorpio risings, but it's also be something that's going to be impacting your home life, your family, mothers, a whole new outlook in regards to what's going on with mothers. Because immediately following this new moon and all the other transits, right as Mars starts to turn retrograde in your 10th, Venus is going to make a conjunction to Pluto in your 4th house. And there's a lot of energy for Scorpio risings, especially if you're younger, where we can have rigid frustrations between the parents, between fathers and mothers. And whether you go one direction or another, if you even have the choice to go one direction or another, there is going to be a lot of frustration in this area. But for others, there's going to be a lot of potential to, again, impact your family in a whole new way based off of what's going on in career. And for some of you, that's going to even require moving. For you to get where you're wanting next in career, you're going to end up having to relocate to get to the new place, to be able to accommodate certain things. There is potential of movement. Now, we got the Tower card. Not freaked out over the Tower card. I'm going to say the same things to you I said to Leo risings. With the chart ruler being in the 4th, Pluto in the 4th, and we're about to have the Venus Pluto in the 4th as well. The Tower card is one of the cards that actually represents a structure. A home is a structure. And there are going to be a lot of things that are starting to come into focus that are quite literally impacting the home life. We can also have a detrimental amount of expenses that are impacting the home life. We can be spending a whole lot of money or taking out loans to do something different in the home life, like HELOCs or something like that. We can be looking at the potential of buying a new house or having to take on extra expenses because someone else can't carry their weight. And there can be frustration, again, that certain people didn't make proper decisions, logical decisions with the Queen of Swords, and that we're missing certain opportunities to be able to achieve certain things with this Four of Cups vibration. I don't necessarily, many people are missing opportunities, but there can be still be a fear that something isn't going fast enough. And if that's the case, I'll be honest, I kind of got grabbed by that energy mentally for a few days too, like right before Mercury turned retrograde. But really, what it came down to is like, no, if something's not going fast enough, that means I'm trying to do something sooner than it's supposed to be done. And we should not try to skip levels. The cart does not go before the horse. The horse has to drag the cart. We have to take certain steps. We have to go through certain motions. And if we pay attention to how the energy is unfolding and we work with the energy and the potential of the energy, things can be far more rewarding for us. Queen of Cups, Three of Wands, 10 of Cups. In the long run, if we just recognize that one wave of potential is starting to unfold now that has the financial capabilities of restructuring and changing things right now. But it won't be the end all be all. For many of us, the potential of something that is going to be happening in the immediate is going to have levels that will start to unfold later. Don't focus on level 10 when you got 9 steps ahead of it. Take each level and each step accordingly and allow things to unfold naturally, because the way that it will benefit you if you will do that is magnanimous. So trust me, don't try to jump the gun and do things before they're meant to be happening. And do not be surprised if you're finding yourself spending some extra money just to make money later. It's going to happen. Invest in yourself. And that's the best way to look at it. Invest in yourself. Invest in your family. Invest in you. Everything will grow. All the potential is there for later to be happy, to have something that we've never been able to achieve before. Okay, moving along. Moving along. We're going to get to Sagittarius and Sagittarius risings. All right, babies. Sagittarius risings, I want you to also go listen to Gemini risings. Why? Because the ruler, your chart ruler, is in your 7th house. The ruler of your 7th house is in your 1st house, just like the Gemini risings. Therefore, go listen to their side too. I said the same thing to them. I'm saying it to you. Just trust me, you need to listen to both sides. So, Mercury now retrograde in your 1st house, a new moon in your 1st house. You are making big decisions to make some adjustments and changes as an individual, either for the potential of career, Mercury ruling your 10th, or you're making all of these new changes as a reflection of the impact of someone else and their influence on you, whether that's a relationship influence, potentially Mercury ruling the 7th, or just another person that we trust that we're willing to lean into. The thing about the 7th house is it's anybody and everybody else. It's just as much as it can be your significant other. It can be your bully from high school. It can be the milkman. It can be me. It can be anybody and everybody else. So the influence of what you are choosing, new moon in the 1st, to change in this moment can also be reflective of what you wish to attract differently in partners, and or it is because the influence of another has forced you to face certain things about yourself to where you will finally make changes for your own greater good. And that's not always an easy pill to swallow. But considering right before we got into all these Sagittarius transits, we had a lot of things going through your 12th house of the unknown, the unseen, and endings. There was a lot of forced healing on you guys, a lot of weight that not many people were prepared for. But it has now truly forced you to look at something differently within yourself and start moving very quickly to get away from an old dynamic and an old way of thinking. I'll be honest. Your cards are very, very heavy. Jupiter rules your first house. Jupiter is your chart ruler, but it also rules your fourth house of home, home life, and family. Mercury rules that seventh house of relationships, but it also rules that 10th house of career and fathers. The dynamic of what is going on in your guys' axis is like, no matter what you're doing, many of you are dealing with something in regards to your home life, in regards to your parents, in regards to your significant other, in regards to your children, in regards to anything and everything that it actually impacts you on a multitude of levels, your career, that potential of changing. But it is a new moon in your first house. So for many of you, you are making the decision to change. Some of you have had to walk away from certain people and certain situations. You've been finally forced to accept certain truths that we did not previously wish to accept. 8 of Cups, 5 of Swords. And many of you have had to, again, deal with the betrayals of another side, either you betraying them or them betraying you. We have the 7 of Swords and the 9 of Swords. And that has also made you have to face certain truths that you previously did not feel like you could face. The 9 of Swords can be very much a mental prison, a psychological prison of putting yourself in a place of darkness and weight and depression. And so much of the 12th house transits that we were going through in the weeks leading up to now can really have forced you guys to make a change within yourself. Now I'm going to go back to this 8 of Cups. We've already had this once before, but I'm going to go back to this 8 of Cups. To walk away from the things that no longer serve you and to finally move into something new that's going to be best for you and your desires, what you wish to manifest moving forward with this Page of Coins, but also this Chariot card. You are making very fast moves. And given the way the vibration is working around your energy, the fast is necessary. The movement is necessary. The speed is necessary. You need to make a quick decision. And for some of you, that's going to then directly impact the family because of how the rest of the week transits are going to go. The sun is going to square Saturn in your fourth. Mercury is going to hit its second opposition to Jupiter. And between those energies right there, it's also going to make you face certain things or force you to make some kind of decision. And that will speak volumes around December 4th, so just a few days away, when we get to that Mercury Cazimi. And Mercury comes into the heart of the sun. And we have some type of truth, something come to light. You willing to express something, reveal something, the discovery around what is best for you. Again, this Chariot card, things are already in motion. And once you reveal the decision, it is going to have an immediate impact of change, of pivotal disruption, and moving things around in regards to our home life. Some elements that can impact faith, but others it is going to require travel. Some it is going to put a whole different focus on our siblings and who we decide to share responsibility with and who we are deciding to communicate with. But you guys are feeling this weight very, very intensely. But given new moon in your first, later this week, the Mercury Cazimi in the first, you are making these big decisions. You are finally walking away from the old way of thinking, the old way of doing things. You are finally accepting certain truths. You are finally breaking out of certain mental prisons and allowing a new form of yourself to take shape so that way you can actually take control of how you see your future moving forward. And that can be profound. The wheels are already in motion. The downloads that you will get this week, the ideas that you get this week, the desires that will come through this week. Once they hit you, once you make these decisions, you are the one making things happen. And again, go listen to the Gemini risings too. Okay, okay, okay. Moving along. Moving along. We're going to get to Capricorns and Capricorn risings. This is a new moon in your 12th house of the unknown, the unseen, endings, healing, betrayals, the past, shaky ground, hollow ground, being in an unknown place, feeling isolated, needing to become isolated so that way you can heal. Some of you are going to choose to go into isolation. Some of you are going to be choosing to go into quarantine because, again, the ruler of your 6th house of health is now retrograde in your 12th house, where the new moon is. The 12th house, the unknown, the unseen, and endings. The ruler of your 12th house is in your 6th house of health. So I'm still saying the same stuff that I said in the last moon cycle video. Your health is very, very important right now. But also, so too are the methods that you start to use to change and heal something, to let something go. Many of you are starting to separate from certain people, places, things. Withdrawal is coming through. We're seeing certain things differently, certain people differently. And many of you are going to also start to see certain desires very, very differently. Sometimes we need certain people to come through so that way they can show us the potential of something. They force us to look at the alternative path so that way we can take something else into consideration. And many of you are starting to have triggers of transformation with a new moon in your 12th, Mercury retrograde in your 12th, but also Mars stationing in your 8th house. Now, the 8th house is a financial house. Shared investments, shared assets, shared resources, shared money. You can start to have issues tied to another person's money with Mars there, but not everybody's having a financial issue. Many people are starting to feel sparks and triggers towards transformation. And considering now you finally have Pluto out of your 1st house, some of the transformation that needs to happen is the shedding of the old shell and allowing something new to come through in the path. So we have this moon card. And the thing about the moon card is, like, this card does not produce its own light. The moon is a reflective energy. It reflects the light. The more vibrance and the more heat and the more warmth that is coming to it, the more it can project. That can be positive and that can be negative. But there can also be things that really do come to light the more and more you start to connect to other people. But there's a big warning with the connections of other people because Mars is about to go retrograde. You got everything going through your 12th house of the unknown, the unseen, and endings. Some of you are on hollow ground. You don't know what you're stepping into. So taking that moon card, you don't know the full impact of the decisions that you are making, and you don't necessarily know the work involved that is going to follow. Now, that can be a multitude of ways that's coming through. Venus, the ruler of your 10th house of career, is in your 1st house. Venus, the ruler of your 10th house of career, is about to go into your 2nd house of money, while Mars is turning retrograde in your 8th house of money. You got a lot of financial things going on here. But not only that, you have things that are going to really push you into a new direction that you've never been in before. You're going into uncharted waters. You're going into situations that you haven't dealt with before. You are starting to see people that is only showing one side of themselves. I like to call sometimes new connections a honeymoon period. And then once the honeymoon is over, then reality sets in a little bit more. We need to be aware of when Mars comes retrograde into that 7th house of relationships. That some of the people that start to come back, some of the people that we are connecting with, we're going to see a whole different side of them with Mars retrograde in the 7th. Now, that, of course, does not start until January, but many of you are already starting to go through the motions very, very quickly of doing certain things that can equal some level of betrayal within yourself if you do not watch it. 3 of Swords, Chariot card. Do I like the potential with the Mars retrograde in regards to career? Absolutely. Venus going into your 2nd house of money. Do I like it in career? Absolutely. I think for a lot of you, if the uncharted waters in this new territory of what we're going into has to do with business and money and career, I think you're making pivotal necessary steps to align you with where you go next, even if this step that you're making is just a stepping stone. And the potential is great. But if we're doing appointments with boyfriends, girlfriends, and people that we've just met, these new potential relationships, we're not seeing them clearly. We're not. Especially anybody new that has come through since the beginning of September. When Mars was in your 7th house of relationships, some of those new people that came through, they were tests. I've warned it before. They just seem fun and dandy right now. Everything seems great. It's going to be great, right? You're in uncharted water. You're dealing with things that you're not used to dealing with. You're seeing someone differently. And the whole idea is to test you to see if you're going to make the same mistakes that you've made in the past, or if you finally learned your lessons. Many of you are in a test. If it's a career test, I'm rooting for you. If it's a relationship test, it's not going to be fun. If we're dealing with the financial issues tied to child support or insurance payments or anything along these lines, anything that's financial, there can be additional legal matters that start to pop up. And don't be surprised whether you're having to take the step to hold someone accountable or if some other person is doing the filing against you. There will be some legal matters that start to come up in the months ahead. But everything is in motion. With this Chariot card, everything is in motion right now. Right now. Right now. Okay. Moving along. Okay. We're going to get to Aquarius and Aquarius risings. Oh, my loves. This is a new moon in your 11th house of friends and network and clients and colleagues and people you choose to share your space with. The ruler of your 11th house of friends is in your 5th house of love and luck and joy and romance and happiness and children. You guys can really be feeling some type of test in regards to knowing the difference between friends and lovers. We can start with that. We can also have a lot of things going on in regards to legal matters where you're going to finally start to make the steps to take your power back. Why do I say that? Because Pluto's now in your 1st. And these people that have been acting out in a certain way, Mars stationing retrograde in your 7th, you're going to start to see those other people very differently. And again, many of you are going to see that you're going to have a test in front of you of understanding the difference between friends and lovers. And the way that we've seen certain people is not the way that they need to be seen long term. Betrayal is in the vibration. Mars stationing in that 7th house, betrayal is in the vibration. There's a legal matter that is about to hit a turning point. There is frustrations going around our children or around our clients that is starting to reach a turning point. And in the days ahead, there's going to be more things that start to fall on your lap that is going to show you even more that you need to take something to the next level, that you need to start holding someone else accountable because they're not doing what they're supposed to do. And that Mars retrograde in the 7th is showing you exactly that. Luck is on your side. All you're waiting for them to do is misstep. Let's talk about the first few cards. We have the 4 of Cups, and we have the 7 of Swords. This is a betrayal card. 4 of Cups can be talking about the potential of missed opportunities. If I take this, I might be leaving behind something that can be great. But if I don't take this, I might be missing an entire world of opportunity. Some of you are looking at the potential of something and you're worried if you give up something too soon that there will be a negative impact. I don't necessarily agree. I am a firm believer that whatever is meant for you is going to happen. You can't truly mess up something that is meant for you. Things will find a way to turn themselves around. But there is a lot of strain and a lot of potential that is going to be tied to another side. Mars turning retrograde in the 7th. That is really going to make you aware of whatever opportunity is either being missed with the Four of Cups or that you need to grab a hold of no matter what with the Four of Cups. Now we have the Hierophant card. This is a tradition card. This is a family card. And of your 2 chart rulers, Uranus has been in your 4th house of home life, and family forever. So many of you are starting to deal with something that is directly impacting your family. Whatever is starting to happen with that other side can impact your family. It can impact your children just as much as it can impact your finances. But there is some level of holding accountability that is necessary to make things turn around. Don't give grace. Don't allow someone to walk all over you. Because the person that you allow to walk all over you can really make you question the possibility of what can be real later on. Now, for a lot of you, there's some good things coming together. We got this 2 of Cups energy. Yes, it is a Lover's card. But I also look at the connection energy. This is a new moon in your 11th house of friends. Certain connections can start to come through that can have a lot of potential, a lot of village mentality, a lot of knowing your tribe, allowing certain things together. And by having a new moon in your 11th house of friends, this Mercury retrograde in your 11th house of friends, your tribe can be so important with helping you reach that level of potential and luck. And with this 9 of Cups energy, it is better to be lucky than smart. And luck is on your side. In the weeks ahead, luck can very much be on your side, depending on the commitments at hand. I do not like this in regards to relationships. I really do not. I feel like Mars retrograde starting in your 7th is going to put a very big damper in regards to that other side, or it's really going to put a big damper into something in regards to a legal matter. But I feel like the people that you surround yourself with, your communities, your tribe, your family, your friends, they can be what gets you to the other side. Not so much a partner. It's time to let certain things fall away. Okay. Okay. Moving along. We're going to get to Pisces and Pisces risings. All right, babies, I'm going to tell you the same thing I told the Virgo risings. Go listen to their side, okay? The ruler of your 4th house of home life, and family is in your 10th house. The ruler of your 10th house is in your 4th house. And this whole dynamic can have to do with fathers, mothers, family, the masculine side, the maternal side. But there's a big dynamic here about having to do extra things, making extra shifts based off of like helping the father's side of the family more so than your side of the family. Because Jupiter, your other one of your 2 chart rulers, is in the 4th house of home life, and family. Now, there's a lot of movement, a lot of second guessing, a lot of changes, and a lot of frustration. And here's the deal. For a lot of you, it is going to really push for you to make adjustments in your routine for the potential of what's going to be best in family. Sorry, the cards jumped on me. Some of you are going to feel betrayed. Others are going to feel hopeful. Many of you are going to be feeling the responsibility of everything on you because Saturn's in your first house. Saturn has been putting so much weight and so much responsibility onto you. And now, with the energy involved, you're going to be forced to make certain decisions, to make certain things happen. So that way, your goals for career, your goals for the future, your ideas for how things are going to need to work out can happen. But there is a push for you to make certain decisions this week, for you to be seen in a different way this week, for you to take a whole different level of responsibility. Not saying that you haven't been taking responsibility up until now, but there is something here that is very much pushing you to be seen in a different light. And that's because this new moon, especially right here, I'm not even going to turn it off the screen yet. At this moment, on December 1st, the sun at 10 degrees 5 minutes, it's now within that 3-degree range of Saturn. The new moon is already at the start of the 3-degree range, but it's really dominant right here for you guys to see this. Immediately following this new moon, the days ahead, the sun hits the square to Saturn. Some of the decisions, some of the ideas, some of what's going to be going on is going to be forcing you to make very big decisions in that Saturnian side. It is going to force you to take a whole different level of responsibility. It is going to force you to push up on something. And again, some of this can have to do with career because this is a new moon in the 10th house of career. But Mercury also rules that 4th house of home, life, and family. Mercury also rules that 7th house of relationships and legal matters. And the whole spectrum of everything is here. Mothers versus fathers, home life versus career, the potential of partnerships in legal matters, but also the potential of you being in charge of something based off of some of the changes that are happening in the Mercury retrograde. You recognizing that you can't share certain responsibilities. Mercury ruling your 7th, now retrograde in your 10th. You can't share certain responsibilities with someone else. No, they can't always handle it. These were literally the first 2 cards out, by the way, was the Lover's card and the 7 of Swords. No matter how much you think that you can trust another side, they can't always handle the responsibility. They're not going to take care of the kids the way you do. They're not going to take care of the job the way you will. And you're going to have to step up into something. I'm not saying that you've been lazy. I am saying that you're going to be forced to take certain kinds of responsibility this week following the new moon. Some of you are going to be forced to make certain decisions. Again, if you have allowed for someone to do something, to share certain responsibilities, and they're not living up to the challenge, you're going to be forced, 2 of Swords, to make a decision that you don't want to make, no matter how hard it is, but you're going to know that it's going to be what's best for everyone with the King of Cups energy. It is what's necessary to make sure everyone is taken care of appropriately, and that had you not make this decision now, that it's going to have a bigger impact later if I don't make this decision now, if I don't do this new thing now, if I don't make these changes now, if I don't allow for certain things to happen now. Now, with the 9 of Cups and the 8 of Wands, a lot of this is fast-moving energy. A lot of this, there's stuff already going on. And the 9 of Cups is very much a luck energy. Luck is on your side. Your luck is shifting by taking on more responsibility, by taking more authority, by taking on more recognition. It's going to allow for other things to shift in ways that needs to be shifted. I can't talk now. And for many of you, again, it's going to be a disruption in your daily routine because either you're going to have to take extra effort to care for someone else, Mars stationing retrograde in your 6th house of health, or you are going to have to accept elements of age with Saturn in the 1st. And that Mars retrograde in your 6th is like an impact negatively on your health. And maybe it's not necessarily that you have to accept all the responsibility. It can be both sides. The duality is real. But some of you might have to actually tell someone that there's a change of opinion, a change of an idea, and you're not well enough. You're not able. and that they're going to have to handle something. They're going to have to take responsibility. They're going to have to do their side. It's one or the other. Either you are going to have to step up and level up into something. And again, with this Eight of Wands energy, everything is already in motion. Or you're going to have to force someone else to do it. With the Mercury retrograde element here, it makes it kind of a dual steam, because some of you guys, you don't want to delegate to anybody. Saturn in your first has made you very aware that you can't necessarily delegate to other people. But now you're having no choice but to go ahead and say, okay, well, you can pick up the kids like 2 days out of the week. You can do this extra thing. But it could also be the other side of like, I can't do this because my work has me going overnight hours. It has me doing something additional. It has me doing something that does not make this a possibility. You're just going to have to do your side. You're going to have to figure it out. I can't take it on. And there's some mix to this. It's impacting the kids. It's impacting the family. It's impacting the career. It's impacting the other side. You know, you are going to have to push for some level of responsibility and take a step forward into something with the sun square to Saturn. Or whenever we get to that Mercury retrograde squaring Saturn, you're going to have a change of opinion and really lean into the idea of delegation. And depending on how that all plays out the rest of the week, you're going to know once you're in that situation. You're going to know whenever you have to make that call, like, hey, can you pick up the kids? Can you do this extra thing? I can't do it right now. I'm so busy. I want to help. I can't help. I can't get free. Cars in the shop, whatever it is. You're going to have to do that extra piece. Okay. Okay. I love and appreciate every single one of you. Thank you for the support. Thank you for listening. For my audio listeners, I know I talk about the charts and I pulled cards. You guys will have to check out my Facebook page, because all of the cards that I pull for your individual sides are actually going to be listed. I post pictures of them there. Hit me up with questions. Hit me up with concerns. If you're wanting to book a reading, again, you only have these 2 days to be able to book it at the discounted rate. And this will be the last time that I run the special at $25. So hit that Black Friday deal while you can. I love and appreciate every single one of you. I will talk to everybody very, very soon. Subscribe.